What do you say we go to school?
Despite its vivid imagery, rat's ass is a slang phrase that is often used to express indifference or lack of concern about something. When someone says they don't give a rat's ass about a topic, they're emphasizing that they don't care about it at all. Example, I don't give a rat's ass about what he thinks.
From Hollywood, welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
You're God's special little creature.
Oh, thanks for noticing. Hey, it's finally Friday. Are you ready for another action-packed adventure? Just nod your head yes. All right, here's what's up on the Rap today. I've got a tribute to a legend from my generation. I have a message for my Democratic fiends that will probably fall on deaf ears, but I'm going to take another swing anyway. I've got the most insane coincidence in history coming up, and you'll want to sit down for this one. We're also going to explore the differences between blondes and brunettes because I never get tired of trying to figure out what makes women tick. Do you? We've got the NCAA Final Four preview and predictions for both men and women. Plus, we've got another round of head trauma on the way. Today we're going to play I Start It, You Finish It. We'll get into our usual loose behavior. Saw it on the X, the celebrity cheese, your email from our Gmail, one more thing, and shout-outs to Rat Nation today. After we finished the podcast on Wednesday and posted it, I went down and turned on the news and found out that Val Kilmer had died at 65 of pneumonia. Really shocked by that. I think we all knew that Val he's been sick over the last decade. 2014, diagnosed with throat cancer, had to depend on a voice box to speak. Now, in the movie Top Gun Maverick, which was his last role, they had to digitally alter his voice so he could be in the film. Now, personally, I believe Kilmer is probably one of the top 3 actors from my generation. I mean, every character Val played, he brought them to life. Now, to me, that's the sign of a great actor when you're watching them and they actually make you believe they're the character that they're playing. Now, to give you an example, Denzel Washington's a pretty good actor, but Denzel plays the same persona every role that he takes on. There's not a lot of depth. Val Kilmer has depth. I don't think he ever played that you could say he played a role the same way twice. Don't think you could say that about Val. So before I did the podcast, I wanted to go in and figure out what were the top 5 movies that Val did, because he did a lot, so I had to break it down in a lot of different ways. So I came up with these. Number 5, Heat, with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Number 4 is The Saint. A lot of people haven't seen The Saint, but he did it with Elizabeth Shue, and it was a funny movie, but it showed his depth as an actor too. Number 3, I've got Top Gun, breakout role as Iceman, but because it was supporting, I didn't move it up. Left it at number 3. I got The Doors, where he played Jim Morrison, at number 2, and of course, number 1, got to be Tombstone, because Val transcended the role of Doc Holliday to the point nobody will ever play the role of Doc Holliday again.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry. Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave.
Fight's not with you, Holiday.
I beg to differ, sir. We started a game we never got to finish. Play for blood, remember?
I was just fooling about.
I wasn't.
And as you know, Johnny Ringo was no daisy. He was no daisy at all. Well, thankfully, we'll have Val's movies to remember him by. In fact, this weekend kind of feels like a Val Kilmer movie binge weekend. I think I'll start with The Saint. You know, as I've observed how things have been shaking out since Donald Trump was elected in November, the way these Democrats are fighting to keep the people they allowed to cross our border illegally and have committed heinous crimes here, I've come to this conclusion. If it's not clear to you yet that today's Democratic Party has been hijacked by a bunch of Marxist commies who blame their opposition for what they're guilty of doing in an effort to destroy American freedom, I think you're part of the problem and not the solution. I mean, here's what I think is going to happen to you. You're going to get used and abused by this party and continue to suffer personally, professionally, mentally, and financially, while you unfortunately blame the parties that are trying to help you. And this means Republicans, libertarians like me, and independents, plus the centrist Democrats who've already left the party. Now call themselves independents or libertarians. Now here's your proof. Look how they've treated Joe Biden on the way out. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, and Donald Trump. All former Democrats, man. They don't just let you leave the party. They try to destroy you. You don't think they would do that to you? Now, the reason Trump won the election in November is all three parties came together along with the centrist Democrats to oppose the Marxist Democrat Party that's out there right now. It's why the Democratic approval rating is at an all-time low, because I think most people have figured these folks out. They have no ideas, just ideology. Now, VP J.D. Vance said this yesterday, and it made so much sense.
We do not ask permission from far-left Democrats before we deport illegal immigrants. We do the American people's business. And again, for the American people who are watching, this is such a weird, mistaken placement of priorities. We need to make our country stronger. We need to create jobs. We need to make our streets safer. What is it about congressional Democrats that get more angry at deporting violent gang members than they do at the victims of those violent gang members? I don't even understand where they're coming from. They've gone off the deep end, and they got to come back to reality.
I mean, how can you argue with that? I can't. Makes so much sense to me. But I'll tell you this, I really believe J.D. Vance is going to make a great president for us from 2028 to 2036. All right, are you ready to hear the most insane coincidence in history? And trust me, this one's going to make you go,
Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost a child while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, born in 1939. Both assassins were known by their three names, both names composed of 15 letters. Lincoln was shot at the theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln, made by Ford. Both in Oswald were assassinated before their trials. And here's the kicker: a week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe. And Lincoln was shot in a theater, and the assassin ran to a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and the assassin ran to a theater.
Tell me you don't have goosebumps right now. Hair standing up on the back of your neck, on your arms. Pretty freaky stuff, don't you think? You know, the greatest mystery to men has always been women. I think it'll always be a mystery. Mainly the differences between blondes and brunettes. Now, personally, I've had relationships with both, and I've always felt that I'm kind of drawn to blondes. My mother was a blonde, and I bought into the theory years ago that men are attracted to women who look like their mothers. We've also heard the same about women who marry men who remind them of their fathers, right? Now, according to a recent study, apparently there are some real key differences between blondes and brunettes to be aware of, and let's see if you agree with these. Blondes take longer to get ready than brunettes. A natural blonde has more hair on her head than a natural brunette. A blonde server in a restaurant will get more tips than a brunette server. Brunettes are considered to be smarter during the first meeting. After the first meeting, all bets are off. And brunettes who dye their hair blonde admit to having more fun. Now, it seems to me this study kind of favors blondes over brunettes because brunettes are dyeing their hair blonde, and they make more money when they go blonde, or they believe that. Now, I'm going to post this a little bit later on in the Rat's Ass Podcast blog for you to read and respond to at ratsasspodcast.com. All right? Now, if you're wondering why these studies always seem to favor blondes and brunettes and they leave the redheads out, it's because there's a little blonde and brunette in every redhead. That's why. Now, it used to be you could tell the color of a woman's natural hair if the carpet matched the drapes, right? Well, today, like most women homeowners, they've chosen to remove the carpet in favor of hardwood. Tell me I'm wrong about that. Tell me I'm wrong about it. All right, the NCAA Final Four for the men and women happens this weekend. In fact, the ladies get underway tonight. Texas will play South Carolina. UConn takes on UCLA. Go Bruins. However, I've got South Carolina and UConn playing in the finals on Sunday, and I've got UConn winning it all. That was a tough pick, too, for me, but I'm going with UConn. On Saturday, the men's Final Four will get underway. It's Florida and Auburn, Houston at Duke. To me, that's the national championship game for the men, but It's a Final Four. Championships are on Monday night, and I've got Florida playing Duke in the finals, with Duke winning it all. And that's my prediction for this year's Final Four in the NCAA tourney.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today's round is I start it, you finish it. 33% of Gen Z high school graduates have never done this. What do you think it is? 33% of Gen Z high school graduates have never done this. What do you think it is? Kick it around. I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast a little bit later on.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
Oh, yeah, we dig that loose behavior, don't we? All right, here's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed. Scary Perry posted this one. What have you done to get even with somebody who did you dirty? All right, Booby Davis said this. An ex-girlfriend of mine, check that. It was an ex-friend of mine, screwed an ex-girlfriend of mine. That makes more sense, doesn't it? But to get even, he said, I would drop by his house on different days and let the air out of one of his tires so he'd be late for work. I did this until he finally got fired for being late. You know, that's unique. That's different. I've never heard of that before. You know, it's cruel, but I'm going to give him a 10 on that one. Jenna J said, a girl I played softball with once tried to steal my boyfriend. To get even, we were at a party one night. She got drunk and passed out on a bed. I took her pants off and put cayenne pepper in her underwear. When she woke up and put her pants on, let's just say she had one hot box. You ladies are evil. Oh, God. All right, Tyler T. said, this didn't take a lot of imagination, but it was still fun. Said I put liquid X-Lax in my boss's thermos that he kept in the office fridge on a regular basis. Oh, my God, man. I guess what you're saying is he was a pretty shitty boss, right?
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, this headline struck me a little odd. It said, actress Michelle Williams quietly gives birth to child number 4. And I'm thinking, Jesus, how big were the first 3? Justin Bieber shared a post making fun of how women react when they get engaged. Got major backlash on this because he was really poking fun at him. But you know what? Ladies, please, give the guy a break. He's married. He's got kids now, I believe, right? And at least he didn't share a post making fun of you dropping the kids off at the pool, including the thunder and rain. All right? So cut him a slack here. Cut him some slack. Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen are reuniting on her reality TV show streaming on Bravo. Richards and Sheen, as you know, were married, I think it was 2022, 2026. They have 2 kids together. When asked about the appearance, Sheen said, did I really hit that piece of ass? I had no idea. All right, remember, on Wednesday, we started a round of Celebrity Bang Pool involving Hollywood Hooter favorite Sydney Sweeney, trying to predict when she'll hook up with another dude and do the nasty. Now, keep an eye on Glenn Powell. Rumors are circulating already that the 2 former co-stars are kind of hitting it, but it hasn't really been official yet. So we're looking for that official announcement to come out in like TMZ or People Magazine, ET Tonight, one of the rag magazines, page 6. Whenever it hits there, that's the month it wins. So send us what month you think it's going to happen. Send it to ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. And by the way, this will be the last mention of this contest until we have a winner.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, you know the drill. This is where you email us your questions, comments, and observations to me at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and I respond to them here on the show. No topic is off the table, but the more outrageous and salacious, the better. All right, I do not read your emails in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards them to me with your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can respond rapid fire and on the fly. All right, Gretchen B. from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Love the name, Kalamazoo. Why do you give people nicknames? What's wrong with their real names? Well, it's real simple, Gretchen. If I give you a nickname, it means I'm really comfortable around you. And when I don't give you one, it either means I haven't figured one out yet or I'm just tolerating you. All right, Marlon J. from Terre Haute, Indiana said, what are your thoughts about the volatility in the stock market? Oh, we're going to get serious here, huh? All right, well, my motto is when there's chaos, I go shopping. Doesn't mean I buy, but I go shopping. Typically, I'll look to add to my dividend positions, stocks I own that pay dividends. I give myself a raise by doing that because the dividend doesn't go down when the stock goes down. Now, unfortunately, stocks go down quick, slow to go up, but we'll make profit on the way back up. But give myself a raise with the dividend stocks, okay? Now, keep in mind, I do not watch points. Points can be deceiving as hell. You know, I pay attention to the percentages on the Dow, NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Russell 2000. That's what you want to pay attention to. 5, 7, 10, 15% down. Then you look at the VIX. It's over 40, or it was yesterday for a bit. But now I'm really shopping. But I'm going to let things kind of simmer down a little bit for about 3 days. It seems like 72 hours. Things get a little crazy. Then you'll see things kind of simmer down a little bit. But we'll see. This is a different situation with these tariffs. All right, David P., Houston, Texas, said, I ditched a girl I was dating for 3 years because I caught her taking money out of my wallet. Now I regret breaking up with her. How do I go about apologizing and winning her back? Well, I think you just have to be honest and tell her how you feel, then apologize and ask for forgiveness. I mean, you know, the rest is going to be up to her, but keep in mind she's got 3 years invested in your relationship too. Unless you've burned all 3 strikes there, David, should be okay. I think she would give you another chance. Maybe she'll understand. Mary Ann Z. from Providence, Rhode Island said, here's an observation for you. I don't really care for your podcast, but I can't stop listening. Explain that one to me. That's simple, Mary Ann. You're in denial. You really do like the podcast because it's your guilty pleasure. Admit it. Admit it. All right, Teeter G. from Sydney, Australia said, I love the bit with Casey Kasem. Can you honestly say you've never gone off like that before? And did you ever meet him? No, I never met Casey. You would think everybody in LA radio would know everybody, but no, I never met Casey. But I'll tell you what. I've gone off numerous times. I'm just going to tell you straight. You know, I used to be a little bit of a hothead. I used to be an athlete. And I was always very hard on myself, but I didn't blow up at other people. I blew up at myself. No other people witnessed it, but you know, I think sometimes they might have taken it personally. But yeah, I blew up like that. But here's the thing about Casey. Okay, nobody would ever expect him to blow up. Nobody would ever expect that. And that's why I played the bit, because, wow. Casey Kasem, Phil Florin. But I did meet his daughter, Carrie, a couple of times at radio seminars. A very nice person, too, by the way. All right, Sophia Q. from Vancouver, Canada says, I'm really pissed off at your president over the tariffs on Canada. Where do you stand on the tariff issue? I'm so serious about tariffs, I've thought about changing my last name from Elliott to Tariff. That's how serious I am about these tariffs. Now, seriously, quite frankly, I don't think there should be any tariffs between the United States and Canada because we share a border. It should be free trade. But a lot would have to happen before that could be, a reality. Because I still think there are people from other countries that would try to smuggle their goods into the United States. So there'd have to be a lot of protections before that could happen. But I'd like to see free trade between the two, United States and Canada. All right, if you have any observations, comments, or questions, send them to the ratsasspodcast at gmail.com. ratsasspodcast at gmail.com.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head Trauma.
All right, today's round is I Start It, You Finish It. Let's see, did you figure it out? 33% of Gen Z high school graduates have never done this. What is it? 33% of Gen Z graduates have never done this. All right, if you guessed, driven a car.
Correctamundo.
If you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. I mean, my God, man. I got a job at 15 so I could save money to buy my first car. On my 16th birthday, I was at the DMV when they opened to get my driver's license. What is wrong with Gen Z today? All right, I got to go braid my pubes, but I do have one more thing for you. Did you know 11% of the world is left-handed? 11% of the world is left-handed, which means 89% of the world is right-handed. And I guess I'm not special. I'm not part of the 11%. I feel disappointed here because I'm right-handed. Now, Alexa, tell us something we don't know about left-handed men.
Left-handed men should never speed shift when pleasuring themselves.
Oh, Lord. Really? Really? That's what you came up with, Alexa? Okay, well, I'm kind of afraid to ask about left-handed women. Alexa, tell us something about left-handed women we don't know.
Left-handed women should never speed shift when they are pleasuring a man or they could risk ripping the damn thing off.
God. All right, gentlemen, you know what that means. Yeah. Oh, my God. Next time you meet a woman, You have to ask, are you right-handed or left-handed?
That's just about enough of that.
All right, let's do a few shout-outs to Rat Nation. All right, what's up, Horace Thornton of California, a.k.a. Brains? Kind of sounds like a diabolical chemical scientist to me. Barry Anderson in Iowa, Damian DeAnda from Wisconsin, Sue Bontanovich of New York, Justin Hall in Colorado, and Brianna Hart from New Mexico. Thank you so much for being part of the Rat's Ass Podcast, Rat Nation.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Be sure to check out the new ratsasspodcast.com to connect with us on the socials, listen to podcasts, join Rat Nation, and read the blog. Check it out this week. We've got the Radio Wars and the Dumbass Awards so far. All right? The Dumbass Awards. Check that out. We're going to do this again on Monday, April 7th. Have a fabulous weekend and take care of each other. And thanks for dropping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.